So at the back of the brain here, you have an area called V1, which is the primary visual cortex. That's your interface with the world. Sensory information comes and strikes. It activates patterns of neural activity in V1, but it's very, very messy. It's like lines and patches of color and, lines moving in certain directions. It's a mess, right? It's very noisy. It's very messy. It's incredibly dynamic. It doesn't make any sense. And so what your brain does is it has another level above V1 that kind of has a bird's eye view and is looking for patterns within this neural activity in this lowest level. So it's looking for saying, oh, those lines kind of could be a triangle or this could be a circle. It's trying to find patterns to try generate order from this messy level in V1.
Can I ask you this? How do we know it does that?
That's a good question. Well, there are a number of things. So the earliest evidence came from one of the earliest forms of evidence came from a guy called Wilder Penfield. Are you familiar with?
No.
So Wilder Penfield, he was interested in treating epilepsy, and he invented something called the Montreal procedure, where he would remove a part of the brain that was the focus of epileptiform activity. The idea being that it would kind of cure someone's epilepsy. But before he could do that, of course, he needed to make sure that he wasn't removing important parts for someone's function. So what he would do is he would cut the top of their skull off when they're still awake. And kind of expose their brain. And then he would zap different parts of their brain and say, what's happening.
Oh,
right?
my God.
Can you imagine?
Isn't it crazy that that's how we have to find out what works? We have to, the aliens probably look at us and go, oh, my God, you guys are still doing that?
Yeah, nowadays things have moved on a bit, right?
I'm sure, but this is not that long ago, right? How long ago is this?
1950s.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Not even 100 years.
Right,
so 100
exactly.
years ago, they were literally taking your skull and turning it into a hat.
They would
popping the cap off
pop the
and
cap
just,
off.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's see what this does.
Exactly. They would zap it. And what he noticed is that when he would zap right at the back of the brain, so this is this primary visual cortex that's receiving information from the environment, his patients would say, oh, I see flashes of light, I see lines, I see colors. He would very simple kind of things. But then he would move forward to kind of higher levels that we know now are kind of high levels. And then they'd say, oh, I see triangles, or I see an orange circle, things like this. Then he'd keep going higher and higher. And then they'd say, oh, I see people, or I see cops and robbers. And then right at the top, you reach an area called the hippocampus, which you may have heard of, involved in memory. And the hippocampus basically keeps an eye. It's got a bird's eye view of all of this world model your brain is constructing, and it's kind of following and looking for interesting or important patterns. And when he stimulated that, his patients would actually report memories. They would say, "Oh, I hear somebody talking to me. This happened this morning when I was leaving the house. My mother was telling me something about, you've got your coat on backwards," or something like this. So you have these levels of the cortex that go from very simple, kind of very low-level visual data at the bottom end. And then at the very top, you've got kind of higher order things such as, faces or people. This is sitting at the top.